A banda sonora é um elemento super importante para Detroit Become Human. E nós tivemos a conversa com um dos compositores do jogo, Philip Sheppard, que nos falou sobre o processo de criação da banda sonora e que nos deixou uma pequena surpresa no final. Vejam então.
Well, this was a completely different process for me. I'm used to writing movie soundtracks. And about 2 years ago, I thought I really would like to do a game one day, and then this one, maybe something small, and then this one arrived. It's different from writing movies, because when I'm doing a movie, I'm often having to represent the characters individually and in conflict with one another, and also the landscape, and also progression. In this, I'm representing one character really internally, and I'm having to kind of represent really the changes that are going on both for her from I suppose a physiological point of view. She's gaining sentience, but also I'm having to follow the way that she navigates a landscape from a domestic landscape to really big challenges in the open world. But most importantly, I'm tracking the difference between something going from having automated responses to becoming maternal, to being a mother. And because I'm just writing for one character, I end up becoming very kind of committed to her and almost falling in love with her when I was writing the music, which is a very strange thing to say. But unlike any movie I've written on, I end up putting way more feeling into writing this and making it much more organic than I thought it would be. I thought I'd have much more electronic elements to it. It ended up being almost entirely strings, loads of strings. I suppose the connection between movies and gaming is you're looking to make people connect through the kind of goosebumps, and obviously in a good video game you're looking to keep somebody captivated and to make them care actually about the outcome. Particularly a game where it's not about it's not about killing things, and where there are choices between life and death. They are moral choices. They're not which weapon shall I pull out. They're actually how do I balance my own life against something, what's worth more. And the other difference is that in a movie you're dealing with a linear sense. You're dealing with a left to right progression, which is the same every time you watch it. That's the trouble. Every time you watch a movie it's the same, which is great. But with a game, every time you play it, it matters what you do. It actually, and I've always dreamt of being able to write music that is different every time you listen to it. I feel like I've found that place, and I think it's in gaming, which is kind of great because it's taken me a long time to find it, but this is what I want to do now,
And of course you are a cellist.
Yep.
And this melody you created has some sort of a complex simplicity in it.
Yes.
How is it to create a little piece of thing that can reveal so much about a subject, character, or anything else? In your experience, not just in video games, but how is that?
So it's a very good question, because it's easy to write complicated tunes. It's easy to write a lot of notes. What's really difficult is editing it down to just being like DNA, like this and this. With her tune, I found if I just took the 2 syllables of her name, Cara, and made that my challenge, how can I make a 2-note tune that I can turn into 60 different pieces of music? Writing simple music is really difficult. I mean, go back to classical music. Someone like Mozart sounds easy and is intensely complex because it's so simple in its melody. And weirdly enough, I've only started writing melodies, I've been a composer for a long time, I've only really started writing melodies, I think, in the last 4 or 5 years, because I always write textures and feelings. And so the movies I write for, I'm often kind of being the frame, not the character. So for me it was doubly difficult. It's like in this I had to kind of be simple and make sure the simplicity could unpack itself into many, many different things.
So do you think that is some sort of giving a special soul
to
the material?
Yeah, I think soul is exactly the right word, because you've got to find a way whereby even if you only hear those 2 notes, the person playing the game, because it triggers a memory maybe a few scenes ago or where they cared, it's got to give them goosebumps. If it doesn't give them goosebumps, you throw it away and you write something else. And that's really the way. So it took a long time to find the 2 notes, but once I had the 2 notes, the whole piece wrote itself, I think.
You mentioned now the goosebumps, and it's an interesting thing, and I believe for a musician, it's something that when you achieve that, it's the ultimate thing.
Yes, yeah, and it's more that the first time you hear a tune, it should give you that kind of shiver. And the good thing is that goosebumps don't really lie, and it's a bit like, I don't know, tasting the best food in the world or falling in love or something. It's not something that you know when it's right. And so every time I wrote a tune that wasn't good, I honestly knew it sucked. But you have to go through that until you get to those 2 notes that hopefully will affect other people. It doesn't matter what I feel, it actually matters what the people playing the game feel. I have lots of habits that I use when I'm composing, and they are literally a list of 25 things that I'll do to get myself into the right frame. And I will sound crazy. I will drink 3 pints of water, I'll take vitamins, I'll have a different candle for each project I'm writing. I will travel. So for this one I went to Montana and I stayed in a hut in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone until I had the tune. I was making fires, I was cooking, everything. I have all these routines, and I write a lot of music and I throw 99% of it away. So I believe in drafting, as in doing rough things in an ugly way, and then editing beautifully. And then once you find that little bit, that's it. That's everything. So I don't sit there kind of looking at a piece of paper thinking, I will sometimes just play the cello for 8 hours. Nothing might come out, that's fine. But sometimes there'll be something that feels like it's got legs, as we say, right? And that's what happened with this, I think. And the last time, honestly, I'm not, and which was great because it's a big learning curve for me, but also I think it meant I didn't have preconceptions about how a game should work. And really, this isn't a conventional video game. This is like a liquid novel. This is different. My son, who's now 11, he's a big gamer, so he was very excited about this, but he was also my test audience. And actually, if I'm honest, he was the person I paid to play the game next to me for me to write it. My hands are used to PlayStation 1 controls. I mean, I can play Wipeout very well, the original one. PlayStation 4, I'm terrible. I will get better, but I'm going to stick to playing the cello rather than the console, I think. I think this is the most challenging project I've ever worked on. I think it's probably the most rewarding. I think it's probably the best thing I've written, I hope. And I think it hopefully will change the way that people will think about what video games are and what they can do. So this is a message for all the gamers in Portugal. I hope you love Detroit Become Human. I hope you enjoy playing it, and I really hope you enjoy the music as well. Here's just a little taste of Cara for you.